Welcome to this conversation where I'm going to be introducing one of our personal trainers, the brilliant fitness coach, Patricia Poor, who's going to talk us through a little bit about who she is, what she does, and who she helps. Hi, Pat. How are you?
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Amazing. So first of all, I want to learn a little bit about what got you into the role that you're currently doing, and then we'll kind of unpack as to who it is you help and how you help. So what got you into the fitness business?
Yeah, absolutely. So, honestly, it all started as a hobby for me. So, I used to work in marketing. I used to have a 9 to 5, well, 9 to 6, 9 to 7 job. I think a lot of people know that. And on the side, I just needed to keep myself sane. And so, I got into the gym. I had no idea what I was doing. And then slowly it stuck with me. So, I kind of like it was a natural evolution into kind of like an I did take it a little bit too far. It kind of got into like turned into an obsession. But basically, I got certified as a personal trainer for myself because I just wanted to know more about the human body and how everything works. And from there, people started asking me, like, hey, Pat, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And then I love doing this, right? Because at some point, like, this was just everything that I loved outside of my job. And I started helping people. And at some point, I was like, okay, I think I need to start charging for this because it is like all of my free time, right? And so it was a very natural kind of like career change from marketing into fitness coaching.
And so tell us about those kind of early times. So you said that it became an obsession at one point. To what extreme did you take it?
Yeah, so I started as a normal gym goer. I used to go to the women's section in the gym first because I was too
Yeah.
intimidated by all the big men, right? And then I got to the point where I was like, okay, let's try with the machines. Then let's add a little bit of running. I ran a few half marathons, right, on the side of like going to the gym. And then afterwards, I was like, okay, I've done half marathons. What should be next? So you need to know it about me that I'm a very goal oriented person. And I used to be like such a perfectionist and a type A. And I'm really good at like setting a goal and then breaking down the steps to get there. So when I was looking for a new goal, I was like, hmm, why not do bodybuilding? Like get on a stage like that, because getting on a stage, like to a competition that actually has a date and it has a clear guideline of what you need to achieve. And I was like, perfect. Okay. So that's when I hired a coach myself. Like
Yeah.
I was a coach at that time, right? Already, but I also hired a coach. And yeah, and I got on stage in a tiny bikini, fake tan, with my posing routine. But to get to that point, I actually had to eat on a meal plan for 4 months. I worked out 7 times a week. I did cardio, I did all my steps, and I actually, like pushing it to such an extreme, I actually lost my period when I was 27. So I can say that I actually pushed fitness to the extremes where yeah, my hormones were all over the place. I was not healthy and I lost my period. And that was terrifying because, when you're 27 and you don't have your period, you're like, okay, was this worth it? Was this body fat percentage worth it? Because I was freaking lean.
Lean.
Um, yeah, lean. But it was not worth it. And so from that point, that was kind of like a high and a low point in my own personal fitness journey because I actually got medals for this look, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I didn't have my period and my health. So like that was like a whole like dissonance of like I get medals for this, but I lost my health. So like, what is going on? And that was the point that I decided that I will never let anyone push themselves to these extremes. And this is why, if you connect with me anywhere, like on the internet, you will see that I'm a sustainable fitness coach.
Yes.
And this is
Sustainability is the word that I always associate with you. It's something that's always kind of popped up, and it's such an important part of the message, I think. Is there a running theme with some of the obstacles or issues that you notice with the people that you work with?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's I usually work with the type of people that I also used to be or that I am, because I really understand them. And that's really this like high achiever, really like high achieving in their careers, A-type personalities, perfectionists whose issue is not that they are not doing enough, because they are going and going and going, and they're ready to take action, but they are not taking the right action, or sometimes they are doing too much, which becomes counterproductive.
Yeah,
Which is exactly what happened in bodybuilding as well, right? I did too much, and then I lost my health, which fitness should be generally for health. And that's exactly the people that I help, who know that they want to do something, but they want to do it in a sustainable way. They don't want to overdo it, and I help them really find the minimal, the minimum things that they need to do to get the most out of it. So how can we be the most efficient for our health and in our
yeah.
fitness with the minimum, things that you need to do, so we don't overdo it.
I love it. I think that this is key. I had a stint in the same industry that you are currently in, and one thing that I noticed with a lot of trainers is that they try to be novel and they try to be fancy in their approach, but in reality, it is the basics and the most efficient route that will get someone from A to B, wherever B is.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing as well, there are the basics that okay, so we're gonna get started in the fitness industry that you just started. That a lot of the fitness industry are trying to sell people things that they don't actually need. So what before you have the basics down, before you have your enough sleep, the 3 times a gym, enough steps, like your nutrition is clean. Before you do all of that, you don't need 90% of the things that the fitness industry is trying to sell you. So it is a funny thing, and it's always about the basics, and everyone can do this. Fitness is for everyone. Everyone can implement fitness into their lives in a way that it doesn't become a chore, but it becomes part of your everyday life. So just like you're brushing your teeth every day, when you were a child, you like always fought your mom, right? Like I used to. Then I was like, I don't want to brush my teeth. I don't want to brush my teeth, right? And it was, but then she kept at it, and now it's just part of my life. So the start to implement the basics of fitness and health is obviously like the first few months are harder, because you are trying to do habits that you hadn't done in the last 10 or 20 years of your life. But once you practice it enough, it becomes part of your life. And that's what we're aiming for.
Why do you think it is that people struggle so much to integrate the basics into their routine?
I think it's very simple, because what we see, like we most people don't believe that the smallest tweaks can have the biggest impact. So when I say just this week, if you look at last week, you walked 4,000 steps per day on average. This week, aim for 5,000. And they're like, but Pat, like, should I not like go to the gym 6 times a week and do this and that? I'm like, no, believe me, just we're like steadily, slowly, like, increase what you want to do. And I think people are just impatient, because what we know is like from Sunday to Monday, we're like, tomorrow I'm on a diet, and then we're overhauling everything. And so when I tweak a tiny basic thing in their lifestyle, they just don't believe that that's enough, because that's not what the fitness industry and social media is selling us. So I think it's a mindset change of like understanding and like believing and trusting that you don't need to do everything. You just slowly need to change the basics.
I love this message, and this is one of the reasons that I really wanted to help. What really wanted to integrate you into the ReechUs program, is because I don't want the employees that we give this amazing program access to think, right, I've got 90 days to work with this person. It has to be a radically huge change. It doesn't. It just needs to be an improvement on the baseline, which is what they're doing right now. And so that's why that message is so important to me. But yeah, I mean, look, we're really excited to have you as part of this project. I mean, the value that you bring to the program is huge. Your message on sustainability is huge, and I think the other part that is so exciting for me is your emphasis on education, right?
Yes, absolutely. So while I teach, and I've done over 1,300 check-ins with people all over the globe, right? Fitness and nutrition check-ins, and I have seen, that what I teach works, like, the basics, the building on the basics works. And while I do this with everyone, I also teach them, and I always tell them why we're doing things. I never just give a plan and be like, you just do this, you just follow what I say. I mean, yeah, you just follow what I say and you will get the results. I guarantee you that. But I always tell you why we're doing things. I want you to understand where I'm coming from and where everything that we're doing is coming from. Because if you understand the underlying reasoning behind something, then you will be much willing to actually do it. Because I'm like, oh, this actually makes sense why she's making me do this, right? Why she's giving me that advice. And I also always want everyone that I work with feel very comfortable and safe with me, that they can ask all of their questions. There are no stupid questions. And I never expect you to just take what I say at face value. Like, ask me why, and I will teach you and I will educate you, because I want that after we work together, first of all, I don't want to chain you to myself. I don't want to chain anyone to myself, because I am successful as a coach if I can educate people and they can afterwards, after a while, do it for themselves, on themselves, forever, in the long term, and not always, not be like a, in out there in the world, like not being able to do it for themselves. So um, I I think like success for me is when I really educate someone and when they really get the skills and the tools so they can live a fit, healthy lifestyle in the long term on their own.
This is awesome. So you're basically coaching them to not need you to coach them. This is what I love. I love this message. It's all about long-term health, right? So with any physical intervention for me, there has to be a way to make sure that it sticks. Because otherwise what you're doing is you're just improving your health for a very short amount of time. And then you got to go back to the habits that you were engaging with before. But look, Pat, we've run out of time, but thank you so much for coming on and talking me through what you do and how you help and all of that underlying good stuff in regards to sustainability and long-term education. Thank you so much for being part of the program.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be helping anyone that comes through ReechUs.